fountain or some kind of water feature to kind of, give you a little noise, give you a little bird bath. Other than that, your ceramic containers need to have a hole in them if you're going to put plant material in them. Okay, so when you purchase them, a ceramic container, you want to have plant material in it. I don't know if you see this or not, but here's a ceramic container. They're not as porous as you need for some containers to be. In other words, moisture kind of hangs around, moisture and kind of fertilizer kind of hangs around in the a ceramic container a little while longer, because when the moisture try to come out of the side walls of the container, of course, all of the glaze is holding it in. So now, if you're trying to do something like some cactus or some desert type of plants, ceramic might not be your best option. If you do use ceramic, then you want to water less as possible. Okay, now let's go to my favorite, terracotta. Can you see this? I got a terracotta pot. You can hear that noise. It's probably cracked if you hear that noise. Now, terracotta pots are my favorite pots. They are very porous, which means that they allow water to move throughout the walls of the pot. Real good for plants that don't need a whole lot of water, terracotta pots. Some of your expensive terracotta pots come from places like Italy, Spain, and the United States. Some of your inexpensive terracotta pots come from China, Mexico. You've probably seen a lot of pottery from Mexico. They make great containers, but they're gonna go through that freezing and thawing in some of your colder regions of the United States or around the world. And that being the case, you're gonna get a lot of chipping. So in the wintertime, now I got some real expensive terracotta pots since that's my favorite. But some of my inexpensive ones, I kind of move them under the deck or bring them into the basement. I do some kind of installation with them because over the years, 5 years, 6 years, they're gonna start chipping and cracking. So I have to move those inexpensive ones inside. We got another terracotta slide. Yes. Now these are some of your expensive terracotta pots. Like I say, they small, they large. The larger the pot, the better, and the more plants you can use. Okay, we got wooden containers. Wooden containers are very durable. They don't go through the cracking and freezing and thawing like your terracotta or even your ceramic pots. Window boxes, they make great window boxes. Let's go to the next one. I think on the next slide, we got a shot from the Atlanta Botanical Garden. Those are some orchids growing in some very small containers. Cedar wood is a real good wood. If you do vegetables in wood, you don't want to use treated wood. You don't want to use pressure treated wood. You want to just get a wood that's not pressure treated. Like I say, cedar wood, cypress wood, red wood, all of that kind of wood makes very good wooden containers. Like I say, window boxes are well known for container gardening. You can go to some of these antique stores, and you can find a lot of wooden toolboxes. I've converted wooden toolboxes into containers and put plants in them and drill holes in the bottom of it so the water can come out. So there's a lot of things that you can do. You can pretty much almost put anything. You can use any container for a garden. Okay, let's go on to I think we got a concrete. Is it concrete next to concrete? Concrete, if you go to a lot of cities like Richmond, I know Atlanta, I know Dallas, and downtown Tampa, when you go through that urban landscape, you see a lot of container pots that the city is pretty much maintaining, and parks and recreations are pretty much planting those containers. Very, very beautiful. They're professionally done. They're heavy. Now I got a few concrete containers. They're very heavy. You don't have to worry about them chipping. They're very porous, which means that water and air, which is good for the root system, can flow in and out, and you don't have to worry about your plants drowning. Now, you got to make sure that you got a real good drainage hole in the bottom of your concrete containers. One thing I've noticed about concrete containers is that they don't make the drain hole that big, and I find myself having to come under the bottom and kind of loosen up that soil so that water can drain out. Next concrete. Now I want you to look at this concrete container. This is at a mall. If you can look at the plant material, you're looking at violas and pansies. So now we're getting into the fall time of the year, and you're going to see a lot of these kind of containers emerging. Snapdragons, mums, violas, pansies. You want to try to get your container planted before the end of October. You want your pansies to be well established in that container. So we're going to have a lot of good weather. The way the weather's been going lately, we're going to have a lot of good weather in the fall. Mums are starting to show up now. It's too hot for mums right now, but you know, just kind of get yourself ready, get your idea ready of how you want to do a fall container. This is a very, very, very good example of what you can do in the fall time of year for gardening. Gardening does not stop because it get cold. Let's see, let's go into what we got next, metal. Now the metal containers, I got this from downtown Atlanta. You can see on the left-hand side where the metal container has been bent. Now metal containers, they don't go through freezing and thawing. In fact, they're very cold. The plant roots are very cold in a metal container during this time, during the cold season. And right now, in a metal container, they're hot. So if you're out at the desert, if you're out in the desert in Phoenix, and you visit the Dallas Botanical Garden, you're not going to see any metal containers. That temperature out there is a 97 to 117 degrees every day. So those roots are really going to suffer. Go to another metal container. They don't breathe that well, but they make an elegant container. Can y'all see this? Brandon, can they see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, now this is a big part that I got from an antique shop. It's cracked on the bottom. It's got a little hole in it. Now all I got to do is fix this up. It ain't nothing to do. It ain't nothing to do. It make a real good right on the front porch. Get you some sun on the front porch. Plant. You can get a big plastic. I will get a big plastic container. A big plastic container. Plant the plants inside the plastic container, and then sit the plastic container inside of this. Okay, so metal containers, they work well. Okay, what do we have next? After the metal container, let's go to the next. What we got next? Anything goes. Now Connie's on this call. This is a old antique chair that Connie McDowell made, one of the master gardeners. If you see these old chairs, don't throw these old chairs away. Don't throw these old chairs away. You can take the middle part of that old chair. Take the middle part of that old chair, take it out. Get you some chicken wire, hammer and nail, a good heavy-duty staple gun, and staple that chicken wire down as your basket at the seat of the chair. You can get some landscaping fabric to go inside there, and then fill it with your potting mix. Okay, once you get your potting mix in there, go ahead and plant your container. Great on the front porch, great out on the front part. Anything goes. There's a sink. There's a sink. There's a sink, an old sink. It's got the drain hole at the bottom. You can make it out of a container. A good yard art. You see that toilet? They got a toilet and filled it up with soil, filled the bowl up with soil, and went ahead and planted it. Anything goes, depending on your style, you can do a very good job on making a container. I think we got another container slide also, anything goes, maybe. Okay, now this wheelbarrow, this blue wheelbarrow, is right down there in Tampa, Florida, right across the street from my mama's house, over at Denise's house. Look at it. You just got to make sure that your wheelbarrow has some drain holes in it. And depending on the way you tilt that grain barrel, the whole wheelbarrow might not need to have holes in it. Maybe just the front part of it. So you can tilt it, put it up on some bricks and tilt it over. That one on the right, it's a stump. That's a stump that I did myself. The stump was hollowed out. Anything goes, the stump was hollowed out. I got a small plastic pot, stuffed it down in the stump, filled the stump up with some good potting soil, and just went around the yard and grabbed everything. I guess it's some variegated ivy in there. It's another plant in there. It's some monkey grass in there. It hadn't really emerged yet. And that vinca. So it's just, something to do. It's just a container. Let's see what we got next. Now, to be successful, you got to put in work. You got to have a good potting soil. And we're going to get ready to go over that in a few minutes. You got to have a suitable pot. Okay, we talked about pots. You can get expensive pots, inexpensive, or you're going to almost make a pot out of anything that'll hold soil. The right location, very important. I did a garden this summer since we couldn't really go nowhere. We had to stay at home. I had to find something to do. I don't have a whole lot of sun in this location. And so where I put this garden at, it was not a total failure. I think the deer had a good time. Some kind of way he found out how to get inside the fence and went through my vegetables. But I didn't have a lot of sun. And so my plants were straggly. My tomatoes was not big and juicy. Okay. What was it? The orange stuff. My squash didn't really get real big. It tastes good, but it didn't really get big, didn't get a whole lot of yield. So your location of where you put your pot is very important. If it's a shade-loving plant, you got to put it in the pot with the same kind of plants, and it's got to be in shade. You can get some sun, but it's got to get shade. If it's sun, it needs at least 6 hours of sun. Make sure that you don't put a shade-loving plant. It might be pretty, but don't put it in there with all of the sun-loving plants. Make sure that you put them in the right location also. You want something that's give you a long blooming season. You got rebloomers out there. You got perennials and annuals and trees and shrubs that rebloom. We have a cactus down in Tampa. This thing is above the house and it reblooms. It's a night bloom. It only blooms at night. So early in the morning, we have to get up early in the morning to go outside and take pictures of it or to see the bloom. So you want rebloomers. You want something to bloom over and over again, all throughout the whole summer. Same thing about trees and shrubs. Any kind of plant that I try to use in the garden or use in a container, I try to get multiple use out of it. In other words, it's going to feed the birds. It's going to give me a good fall color. I might be able to use the plants for cut flowers. Okay. I can collect the seeds. So you want to try to get plants that's going to give you multiple interests, different shapes, different colors, especially the rebloomers and especially the cut flowers. You can always just go outside to your container and cut you some flowers and bring them in the house. Attractive foliage, I mentioned that. Regular container maintenance. You got to go out there. I mean, every day. Oh, I like this. Somebody put up their zinnias and coleus. Very good. I got some coleus back here. Did real good, but here again, back to the success. Cosmos, what I had, Cosmos. A beautiful plant, wow, does everything. But there was a little small grasshopper that was hitting me at night. And so I went and put some 7 dust. Here again, if you want to be successful, I went and put 7 dust on the hydrangeas, azaleas. Azaleas are good. I went and put some 7 dust on the Cosmos, and they didn't fare too well throughout the growing season. But I tried to, you gotta you got to figure out what kind of insect and what kind of disease you got. So it's not just, you're going to do this container, and once you do it, it's going to go through some stress. First couple of weeks or days, it's going to go through some stress, and then it's going to reach its full potential. And then it's going to climax. And then after so long, it's going to kind of start going downhill because of the heat, because of the weather, whatever. You got to go out there and make sure you take care of it. All right, what we got next? So you got to put in some work. Now the right mix. When you go look for your mix, you got to look on the back of the bag. Same thing about pesticides. Same thing about your mix. Read the labels. Read the labels. And when you go get the mix, you don't want garden soil. Garden soil is when you plant some inside the garden, raised bed, outside garden, or whatever the case may be. That's garden soil. You want potting mix or garden mix. It'll say for containers. It's for containers. It's not for, you can use it for in the yard, but you don't want to use potting. You don't want to use garden soil inside your container because it eventually kind of start caking up, packing down, and it's going to be a little rough on the root system as far as water, air, and fertilizer. So you want a nice fluffy mix. Most of the commercial growers, most of your garden mix, they pretty much put the right stuff in it. Look on the back of it. Some of them have the perlite in it, pine bark. Some mixes just pine bark itself. So what I do is I get me some Miracle Grove and some other brand names. I make my own compost. I have my own compost pile. And then I mix all of that together and throw a few little extra things in there. I'm not too good on the fertilizer. I just kind of do some water fertilizer, but you can add some Osmocos. It's a slow release fertilizer. You can put that in your mix, so that way your plants will constantly get mixed. Let's go to another one on mix. I think I done said a whole lot on mix, but mix is very important. Now a lot of us, we want to go out there and plant a tree or a shrub. We want to go out there and do a container garden. You got to start with the soil. You got to know the nutrients that's got to be in the soil. If you want to get off to a good start, if you want to get off to a very good start, you can almost use anything for a container, but your mix, your soil is going to be key. So now this is just a little sidebar. Osmocos. All right, somebody's put it up there for everybody to see. I can't pronounce it, but it's a slow release fertilizer. Where were we? Mix. Yeah. So make sure you get the best mix you can get. Even if you have a cheap pot, you got a good mix, you kind of on the way. All right, next one. I got another little cheap, before we get into plants. Now, you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, or these other little garden centers. All of those busted bags, especially if you do a whole lot of containers, all those busted bags that they got on the back lot or got on a pallet. I always go to the cashier or always go to the garden manager and ask them how much they want to knock off for that busted bag of material. Sometimes you get a whole lot, sometimes it's not much in there, but you can get you a whole bunch of bags of potting mix by visiting your garden center. Now let's talk about plants. Now, when you're picking the right plant, it's got to be the right plant, and we're just not going for color. You got trees, you got shrubs, perennials, annuals, vegetables, especially this summer. A lot of people was doing vegetables. They was buying Home Depot buckets. The city of East Point was giving residents, the city of East Point was actually giving out container gardens of vegetables. So it was just white buckets, Home Depot buckets. You put soil in it, make sure you got drain holes at the bottom, put your one tomato plant in there, or so on and so forth. You can also put those plants in there and get them started in that bucket and later transfer it to a larger pot. I'm doing a lot of that myself. I start off small, put it in a pot. Like for instance, this one right here. This is a yucca that Master Gardeners grew. I dug it up the other day, redid it. So next spring, I'm gonna be able to take this and put it into a larger pot. Okay. And it's all container garden because I got it in this plastic pot, but I got it sitting down in another pot. Let's go. Let's see what else we got on plants. Choosing the right plant. Now, if you look at these containers right here, this is at the State Farmers Market over in Forest Park. Now, I don't think they're doing any maintenance on these. There's some black-eyed Suzanne in there, if you can see that. Just a wild, it's a wildflower, black-eyed Suzanne, great plant. It's just kind of growing in there. And throughout this entire garden center, you have black-eyed Suzanne, coming up everywhere. You gotta maintain these plants. You gotta work with them just like any vegetable garden. Try not to get anything that's got real strong root systems, in terms of some of the trees. They're gonna outgrow your pot. And when it comes down to repotting them, you're going to have to really go in there with some strong shears to prune the roots and repot it. Your dwarf varieties of anything, your Japanese maples, get the dwarf kind. Any dwarf plants, anything with unusual foliage, unusual shapes, anything that's going to draw the eye toward that plant. So you want to get you want to take all those things in consideration. There's all kind of plants out there that you can use in containers. Use YouTube, search this stuff, and you can be a pro at it. Okay. I think I already mentioned some of this. The plants that you put together, they gotta all have the same requirement. This arrangement right here, you got dragonwing begonia. They got a pink kind and they got the red kind. They kind of came on the scene a couple of years ago, and they really are good for both actually sun and shade. You got that tomato vine, that lime tomato vine. When they came on the scene, lime plants just look so well with bold red colors. And then of course you got the coleus on top. So get your plants together, get your list together, and go shopping. Okay, anything else on the right plants? Gotta have the right plants. This time of year, I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all. I went shopping and trying to get me some plants for this demonstration tonight. And it's not a really whole lot going on out there right now. We're kind of at the end of the growing season. We're getting ready to transition into the fall time of year. You still can put you a good container together, but here again, you got to remember, sometime toward the end of October, as we starting to get into November, we're gonna start moving toward our last frost date. So your summer annuals and perennials, we're kind of like in that transition period. Like I say, the mums, bulbs, all of these kind of plants are snapdragons. All of these kind of plants are getting ready to flood the market soon. And you can always go with evergreen trees or shrubs coming up this time of year. All right, next for the plants. I think the main point here is, here again, this is just a very small pot. Very small pot. Got one dragonwing begonia in now. Petunia, that pink petunia. What's that other plant? Can't think of the name of it now. The yellow plant. And then you got the spike in the background. This particular plant is all the way in the back of the container. So this is not a container that you're gonna see from all sides. It's at the back. So when you plant this container, you plant that large plant in the back and let everything flow up front. Okay. Grooming and tender loving care. Now, I used to. I don't really do a whole lot of grooming and tender loving care. Don't have time. Now, this summer I had time, but don't have time. I kind of want to, my containers are kind of southwestern plants, succulent plants, Florida plants. Now, I did have the one container where I went out there and I mentioned to you about the little small grasshopper, and I used 7 ducks on it and so on and so forth. You got to go out there daily. and I work during the year, but then in the summertime I travel. I'm in and out of Tampa. I visit other gardens. So it's hard for me to have one of these really beautiful, lush containers, because when I come back off my trip, boom, I water it and then I'm going again. So I just kind of, but if you have the time, you just got to get in there and take care of these plants. You got to water them daily in this weather. Daily in this weather, you got to water them. You got to give them fertilizer. If you didn't add the slow release fertilizer in there, you got to fertilize them. And you got to do your disease. Powdery mildew. Man, you can't see it right now, but my dogwood right here in this location get powdery mildew. But the way the weather been this year, for some reason, the weather been so strange this year, I got all kind of blooms on this dogwood, and my powdery mildew was down low. So you got to be able to look at your plants every day to deal with the disease, and you got to deal with these insects. And the extension office got all kind of publications. I got all kind of publications on insects and disease and whatnot. So if you're gonna do this thing, you got to do it right. It's not just kind of put a plant in a pot and water it, and that's it. You got some other things you got to do too. Deadheading, taking the old blooms off of the plant, taking the old blooms off. That old bloom is still sucking up nutrients. It's still sucking up nutrients from the rest of the plant. But when you clip it off, it generates blooms throughout the plant, and it's not taking energy away from the plant. Okay? So you got to go in there and you got to put in work. I mean, gardening, if you want it to look like that, you got to put in work. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, now, kind of want to go step by step. Now, you can almost plant a container any way you want to plant it. I mean, I'm going to do some fall vegetables. Nothing fancy. Just get me a container with a hole in it. I'm going to get some good soil. I already got my soil ready. And I'm going to probably get some lettuce. What else? Some cabbage. Some Georgia collards. I mean, it's all, those plants are going to start showing up. And you can also add flowers to your vegetable garden also. Okay, let's see step by step. Let's go to the next one. Get all your materials together. That's one of the biggest things. You get everything, you're ready to plant, you're excited, you got a few plants, and then you get ready to get started and you don't have enough soil. Or you need one more plant. So get all your stuff together. Will that video play? I don't know if the video gonna play. Let's see this video play. Check it out, y'all. Check this out. I took a tree stump, stuffed this flower pot in it, added some vinca, some variegated ivy, mandu grass, and this other plant, which y'all know. And this is my latest project on my container gardening. Y'all have a good day. Go to the next slide. That was good, Brandon. Hey, now that was good. Now I got big ups. Because I'm not tech savvy, and I've been trying to get this video to load for the longest, and he was able to do it. That worked just right. Now all summer long, I've been doing videos on my gardening, getting my hours. So how am I gonna get my 25 hours during the pandemic when we really can't go out and be face to face with the public? I've been doing a lot of online stuff like I'm doing right now. That was real good. Okay, fill the container and add potting mix. Now, this is, if you look at this container, this is a very large container. I think this one is some like, I can't really see that ruler. It's probably about 20 some inches. So at the bottom of this container, I don't need all that room. I don't need to fill this container with that much soil. It's gonna make it heavy. So I got a pot, I got a plastic pot. And if you can see that black circle in the middle, that's my plastic pot. It's an old container pot. Master Gardener's got all kind of pots at home in the garage, or, anytime we need some, plant some or put some seeds out, we have a container. So I put that container in the bottom of this pot. And then, these little peanuts, that packing material, the little styrofoam, or I got a cooler and I broke it up into small pieces and I'm gonna place it around that flower pot down in the middle. And then I'm gonna start slowly. I don't already mix my soil together. Like I said, I'm using compost. They got cow manure compost. I get pine bark compost. I get my miracle growth mix, and I mix all that together. And then I put it in the container. Okay, so I'm pretty much about ready to plant. I fill it all the way up to about less than 2 inches above the rim of this container. Now you really can't tell on the inside of this container. If you can look at the rim of this container, the light part of it is real light, but on the inside of it, it gets a little dark. I went and got a waterproof and masonry material, and I coated on the inside of this container. I prepared the container first. So when all of the water comes in, it slides down to the bottom of the container. It don't get stuck, because here again, this is for the winter. It don't get stuck. The moisture don't get stuck inside the container, or the moisture it's trying to work its way out because it's porous, if y'all can kind of understand what I'm saying. So I have a less likely chance of the freezing and thawing and the chipping of this container. So with that film being on the inside of this container, all of that moisture is pretty much going to go down to the bottom of the container. Okay, so you really don't only need about 12 inches of soil now, unless you're doing a treat. You only, these little small plants, if they roots ain't going that deep. Okay, so go ahead and now don't put rocks. When I first started out doing this, I used to use rocks, gravel. It's hard to move this thing around my back. I'm getting old. So stop using rocks. I've used the little small water bottles. Don't throw those water bottles away. Give me them water bottles, boy. I take all those water bottles and I put them down in the bottom of it, put whatever kind of fill material in it, and start slowly putting your dirt in or your soil in, add a little water so it can hit the pockets. Because once you get it in there, that's it. So you want to do it right. All right, what else we got? So we done did all that. Okay, now, so there's really, when you're talking about design, there's some method to making a container look this good. You plant what we call a thriller. Because the thriller, thriller is it. Thriller is going to be the show dog. If you look at that, what is that, coleus? It is the centerpiece. It is getting all the attention. You want to get some height, some vertical lift on that thing. When you're talking about your thriller plant, foliage, continuous blooms, grasses, especially this time of year coming up, we're going to have our grasses that are going to have the seed heads on it. You plant that thing with some fall colored pansies, some fall colored violas with that grass coming out the middle, and you're going to have you a nice fall garden. Okay, so that's your thriller. All right, next one. So you got to get that's going to be your show dog now. All right, now you have what we call fillers. So we got fillers. Fillers are what? They fill around your thriller. Okay, you can almost say like the thriller is the queen bee. And then you got all these workers around the thriller, and they're called fillers. They're filling up those pockets. Kind of short, colorful contrast, kind of behave themselves, don't get too big and don't get too out of hand, but they're gonna fill up the remainder of the pot. All right, let's go to the spillers. So we got thriller, filler, and now spiller. Yeah, you're gonna spill over. You're gonna spill over your container. You can see this pink, I think that's what, petunia. It's just gonna keep on blooming. It's just gonna keep on spilling over the outside of the container. It softens the pot itself. It takes the eye off of the thriller, and then your eye comes down and look at the spillers. And you also have that lime potato vine. Very popular plant, very popular plant. They got all kind of trailing plants. Your variegated ivory. You can just think of all kind of stuff that will spill over the side of your container. So we're talking about the designing of a container, your thriller, your fillers, and your spillers. Let's see what's next. Okay, right now, Brandon, right now, can I just kind of give a little small demonstration? We want to go over here to this flower pot and kind of give a small demonstration of what we're talking about, how to plant a container. Can y'all still see me?
Yep. So
all right, okay.
Just, make sure you look at Mr. Caesar's video box, and he's going to do a quick demo for us.
Yeah, you can. What do we see? Do y'all see this container?
I see it.
Okay, so now what I have in the middle is I got a plastic pot. But see, again, I don't have my thriller. Could you imagine that? No thriller? Well, anyway, I got this pot. I'm going to plant this pot in the center where my thriller is going to go. So as we progress in the growing season, I'm going to probably get me a grass to plant as my thriller. Okay, so I got some little small mums. These are going to be my fillers. They're going to fill around. I got so I still have them in my pot. And you can do this too. That way you can change it out when the pansies come. So at the end of October, I might change this out because these probably going to be done lost their bloom. So I'm just going to go in here. If you can see this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave the pot in there. Boom, look at this. Oh my gosh. Simple. Now here's my spiller. Now my potato vine is going to spill over the side. And I need probably one potato vine here, one potato vine here, and maybe about two more potato vines. And I'm going to get this, and I forgot the name of this plant. Marigolds. I'm going to get my marigold and put my marigold right here. Now, if you don't plant them inside the pot, don't throw these away because you can always use that in the spring. If you can look at the root system on this thing right here. Now that is almost a perfectly grown potato vine. So if I'm getting ready to just plant this itself, I'm just gonna kind of score it just a little bit. You don't need to do a whole lot. I've seen them put it in there without scoring it. I used to be scared about scoring my plants, but now I score them and they do fine. Okay, so that's gonna be my spiller. Now I'm gonna plant my spiller right next to my filler. I know my mama want this. She probably want this pot. Okay, so eventually I'm gonna have this mom that's gonna give me this purple and white looking color, if you can see that. This mom, and then these marigolds gonna give me my yellow, and my vine, just imagine it spilling over the side. Put another one here, and probably get me a marigold and put right here. All I need is another marigold. So that's what? This is about, this is like $9 worth of plants right here. And I've been collecting my potting soil. So I'm getting ready for the fall. And all I need to do is get my thriller, put my thriller right in the middle. And once this thing in about 2 or 3 weeks, like I say, it's gonna get to the point where it's ready to be displayed. Okay. Once you get them in there, you're gonna water them so everything can settle. So without having my thriller, now you can see how this design thing goes. All right, do we have any questions at this point? Any questions real fast, y'all? We got about 10 slides left, and they just kind of show and tell. You can go to the next slide, Brian. This container right here, I don't know. I have some I've been in communication with the Lewis Gentry Botanical Garden. Those two that you just saw was from Lewis Gentry Botanical Garden. They kind of helped me and guided me along in terms of what containers to take pictures of. These plants right here is in the city of Atlanta streetscape. Why is it the right location? Because number one, you got concrete containers. They can't move. They're not gonna move. Okay. They under some trees. You get filtered sun. Okay. Now the holiday containers. This slide on the left is from the Dallas Arboretum Botanical Garden. And this time of year, this shot was taken last year in October, but this time of year, they start doing they fall, they pumpkins and whatnot. So throughout the garden, I've never seen this many pumpkins before in my life at a botanical garden. So as you can see, they got that same concept. You got that middle plant, you got something spilling over the side, and you got a filler. Now, the one on the right, Home Depot, what is that? Black Friday, Home Depot put they poinsettias on sale. So I go in there and get me a whole bunch of poinsettias. Come in, you know, when it's nice and warm, you can put them out there on the back porch because it's a tropical plant. You get the sun and watering and whatnot. But when it get cold in December, they got to come back in the house. But I have a nice deck full of poinsettias. So you can do holiday containers. Let's get ready for the holiday containers, guys. We still gonna have a Thanksgiving, a Halloween, and a Christmas this year. Next slide. Tropical effect, especially if you're down in Florida. You got all kind of palms that are growing containers. You know, a lot of plants down in Florida, we in Georgia consider them as weeds. I'll give you one example, Miss Huff. I grew up with Miss Huff, lantana. It was a weed. We used to catch our bees. They don't do this anymore, but you would have a jar. You put holes in the top of that jar, that mayonnaise jar, and we would go out to lantana and we would catch our bees. They don't catch bees no more. Kids don't catch bees no more. For number one, you ain't got that many bees around. Number two, they always in the house on the computer, on the phone. Get them kids, get them a jar, get them a jelly jar, put some holes in that thing, and go out and catch some bees. Anyway, Miss Huff, lantana, tropical plants, very, 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 very good. You can see the one on the right is a what is that? A ceramic container, and those on the left are, you know, probably some concrete containers that's been painted. Next one. A master gardener provided this picture. Now, yeah, right down. Number one, she got on the right hand side. Number one, she got a metal container, a tub. It's just a tub. You go to the hardware store. We got a hardware store in Jonesboro. You can go there and get you a tub, put you some holes in the bottom of it. Now, if you really want to get deep, now I'm out in the country a lot. Have you ever seen those big, some of y'all country folks, those big cattle, those big troughs where they feed the horse and they got water in them for the cows? Well, you can make that out of a big bog garden, or you can make it out of a water garden, or whatever the case may be. So use that metal. Over here on the left-hand side, she got some muscadines. Now that's really a good idea right there. With some of these big pots I have, you can get you a trellis, fix your trellis up, go online, fix your trellis up. You can make a trellis in all kind of material. Go online and get your trellis, put it inside there, and grow your vegetables. Grow your what is that, muscadines. So like I say, this time of year, you're finna get ready to go into your cool season vegetables, and you can do cool season vegetables right on the back porch in containers. I've done it, and it works out real good. You just go to the backyard, go to the back porch, snip off you some of the lettuce or whatever, bring it inside, and you got you some of your salad. Next one, what we have next? A cactus. Ma, one of your aloe veras. It's a succulent. It's in like I say, it's terracotta. I get this from like I say, these are weeds in Florida, but to me they good plants. So you can do cactus, they do real good. They don't take your normal mix. Once you can buy a cactus mix that's strictly for cactus plants. If I do cactus, I do add some soil to my mix. I don't really want to hold a lot of water for the cactus plants because they can kind of do without the watering a little bit longer than the other plants. I can leave them on the back of the deck and I can travel the world. And when I come back, they are fine. So like I say, I'm make it simple. Next one, we're running out. Wonder boxes. This is also from the Lewis Gentry Botanical Garden. Wonder boxes or container boxes. They come in wood. They come in ceramic. They come in everything, and they make very, 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 very good containers. I've seen them where right in the middle they'll put the thriller, and then they'll put smaller plants on the left and the right side of it, and as you can see, those plants are spilling over. That's a good example. Next one. In summary, pick your style. Pick your style. Rustic, antique, Venetian, classic, and start from that point with your pot. You already know how you're going to do your soil. Your soil is going to be very important. It's like getting that soil test if you're going to do a garden out there in the yard or plant some grass. Collect that soil from around that location, take it to the extension office. They'll send it to your state university. Ours is University of Georgia. We send that soil test to the University of Georgia. It comes back to you in the mail, and it tells you every type of material or mineral or fertilizer that you need in your soil, depending on what you're growing, as well as land. So let's get the soil right. Pick your style. You got to get the right plants too. Don't go get no red oak. Some of y'all will go get a red oak and put it in a little small pot and wonder why it's not growing. Don't put no red cedar. Don't put no red cedar in no pot unless you get a real big pot. So you got to get the right plant now. That's important. You got to water often. And like I say, I don't add fertilizer in there. I just use some fertilizer, sprinkle it in there and water it in real well. So it's really not hard. Like I say, the city of East Point was passing out buckets of vegetables this summer. So anybody can do it, especially with kids. Kids love this kind of stuff. I do Clayton County school system. My fifth graders, we out there in the garden, Earth Day, whatever day we can, Arbor Day. I'm always taking kids out doing garden. You know, kids who fish and hunt and do garden, they don't rob old ladies. Next slide, please. Okay, Connie, I know you're on this call. Connie provided some plant material. Miss Lawrence provided some plant material. Rachel provided some plant material. I got a lot of these slides, not these slides, these photos. Like I say, no downloads. I got these photos from the Dallas Botanical Garden, Atlanta Botanical Garden right here in Atlanta, and the Lewis Gentry Botanical Garden. I don't have the Desert Botanical Garden. They were pretty much all cactus. Okay, so now we can entertain questions. We pretty much right at 1 hour, so let's entertain questions if you have any questions. If y'all don't have no questions now, I'm gonna go and finish planting the rest of these pots now. I mean, I got plenty to do around here before this first frost hit in. Any questions? Connie? Mom, you got any questions?
Miss Rosemary C had a question about foam wonder boxes.
Foam
wonder boxes.
Now, what are wonder boxes? Are they like in the window or something, or they hang over the balcony? Foam, let me see, foam or grown.
Oh, foam pots.
Now, are you speaking about planting some plants or some seeds in these recyclable? They like cardboard, and you plant the seed or the plant. They start the root cutting in these cardboard containers. If you're speaking of that, you take those and you plant them in your container garden or in your garden. Now, what I do when I get something like that, you can plant the You can, good job, I learned a lot. That's my mom. You can plant those in the container or in the garden itself, and eventually the material should deteriorate. There was one question about some vegetables.
Yep, about grow bags. Have you ever used grow bags? And have they worked well for you?
A grow bag. I'm not familiar with grow bags. I've never used grow bags. I assume that you putting a plant inside a bag or a seed inside a bag. If the bag is biodegradable, that's fine. Unless you're gonna try to use the plastic bag and put holes in it, and it's just gonna be your container for that particular season. I'm not familiar with grow bags. I'll look it up though.
So the grow bags, I'm pretty sure you can buy them from a garden store. I think they usually come in black. Those will work out fine for you because all they're really doing is just, containing the soil. I guess the only hesitation I would have about those is how durable are they? Like the ones I've seen, they usually look kind of thin. So I don't know how many seasons of, like wind and rain and heat can they last through all that. But grow bags will work fine for vegetable garden.
Okay, so you just sit the bag out there in the yard or on the deck, or do you put it inside another container?
Yeah, they're just like raised beds, basically. You just sit them anywhere. Good for people who like live in an apartment or something, something like that. Someone doesn't have a lot of space, or you just want something easy.
I just saw some on fabric baskets. Now you can get some of those. I think hydroponics. Hydroponics have some baskets, of some plastic baskets that it just got a lot of holes in it as far as the design. You can plant in those. They use a lot of those for pond gardening. Some of those baskets. Any other questions?
Yeah, they asked about how often do you usually fertilize?
Now I would go. Mom they just greedy. They just, especially them bloomers, them pretty toners. They need a lot of food. So I would fertilize them once or twice a week. You can always fertilize once a week, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't want to try to give a whole lot. Now, especially if you're using water-soluble fertilizer, that Miracle Growth, you just get the little scoop, and it's kind of like a green material, a green fertilizer. You scoop it, and you put it in your bucket of water, and you water the roots. Don't water the leaves and stuff. Water the roots of your plants. Once a week is good. Once every 2 weeks is probably about your best bet. Now, your vegetables, I would probably definitely water my fall vegetables, my cool season vegetables once a week.
And someone asked, when vegetable gardening, they want to know, should you keep reusing the soil, I guess, every year, or should you start fresh every year?
On the styrofoam, I saw a styrofoam question. You can use styrofoam on vegetables, but here again now, for a pot this size right here, can they see this, Brandon? For a pot this size right here, yep. You don't want to use no styrofoam or any of the other material that I talked about. Now I probably can put one lettuce in here or one cabbage in here, okay? But now when you go to the big pot and you're trying to put several things in there, yeah, you don't need about a foot of potting material. So you don't need to, yeah, you can use styrofoam and any kind of or that material, plastic pots, plastic bottles at the bottom of your pot when you start getting a large pot. Because like I say, it's gonna make the pot lighter and you don't need all that material. So you can use it on vegetables also.
All right, and then the next question is about vegetable gardening in containers. They want to know, should they keep reusing that same soil over and over, or should they
Now,
use new soil sometimes?
now, I myself done tried it both ways. I've tried it both ways. I haven't seen a different, but instead of me just using the old soil, now I've read some stuff, getting ready for this class, I've read some stuff that you just kind of want to stir it up. What I do is I mix some of the old soil with some of my new soil,
Yeah.
okay? Or that particular part of my mixture, let's say I put it in the pot first, so it's down at the bottom. I got the old soil and the new soil, this down at the bottom. And as I work my way up, it's more new soil than old soil. Okay, so I've heard, now you got to be careful about insects in that old soil. You got to be careful for, I mean, just look at it. You got to be careful for disease. Is any disease in the old soil? So you want to take a look at that before you use your old soil. I have used old soil. And if you don't want to use old soil, put it on your compost pile. I don't throw away no soil. I throw it either on the compost pile or I mix it in with my new containers.
Yep. Yep. So overall, just best to amend that soil with new soil every year, or you can completely get rid of it, like Mr. Caesar says, and
Right.
use new soil. But you made a good point about being aware of insect pests and disease pests, because those pests can dwell in your soil and become a problem for you next time. So overall, probably just better if you use new soil, or at least mix in some new soil into that pot.
Yeah. I like I said, I've done it before, but it's not a normal container gardening practice for me.
So what fall flowers would you buy right now? That's a question for you, Mr. Caesar.
Like I said, I'm gonna probably do some grasses. Can you put containers outside for a day and bring them back inside at night? Okay, I just saw another question about moving it in and out. The only thing about moving it in and out, and wait a minute, I was answering another question, wasn't I? Oh, fall, let's do the fall plants first. The fall plant, you're gonna get pansies. Pansies are gonna give you all your color. You're gonna get snapdragons, your annuals. Or they got violas. Violas is a little smaller version of pansy. And you can even eat pansies. You can eat the flowers of pansies. So a lot of time on my salads, I just go outside and, deadhead my pansies and just for color on my salad and whatnot. So pansies, snapdragons, you're gonna get some evergreens, some boxwoods, some boxwood evergreens. A lot of people do boxwoods during this time of year. Any cone-shaped tree, especially some of your evergreens that they're gonna be kind of using for Christmas. You're gonna start seeing them showing up at your garden centers. Some of those spruce type small trees, not the Colorado blue spruce, but some of your small spruce trees, grasses, a lot of your wildflowers, they'll still be available and have some bloom to them. So that's kind of what we're going into the fall. Snapdragons, what is that, amaryllis, that bulb that if you put it in a pot now, those amarilla bulbs, they look real good during Christmas time. You're gonna start seeing those in the garden center, about $7. Little small pot, little small ceramic pot. Get you a little green decorative pot and put that bulb, it's about the size of my fist, put it inside there. We need to start doing that now. So as soon as those amaryllis, I always try to time it where December 25th, my amaryllis will be up. They red, they white, and they blooming. I never could catch it just right. I might try it again this year. So those are some of the things that are going to be coming out during the fall. Now, as far as a plant being outside, moving it back and forth on the inside, you can do that. I've done it before. My next door neighbor has a huge container, very beautiful. It was in one of these slides. He have his on wheels right there at the garage. So his is right there at the corner of the house where it gets a lot of sun. But in the wintertime, all Jeff do is just roll it right into the garage and he overwintered in the garage. He don't put it back and forth. With those Christmas flowers I had, I move those in and out of the house. I take them outside, water them on a sunny day, and move them in and out of the house. My succulents, I move them in and out of the house too. Now they pretty much can handle the cold weather, but I don't want to take no chance. So I bring them in the house, put them in the basement or in the garage, and kind of overwinter them like that. So you can do it, but it's a lot of work and it's real tricky. Anything else? Come on, y'all. Come on.
Use, hydrotone for plants.
Hydrotone. Now, thank you for hydrotone. You can answer that one, Brandon. What is hydrotone?
I'm not familiar with hydrotone. I know of Rutone.
I'm not familiar with hydrotone myself. Anything else?
Yeah, Abdul, you can message us with more information also about that. But next question. Yeah, I think that was it. Unless anyone else has any more questions.
Brenda, you got some information? Thank you very much. We was very informed. Okay, I'm glad it was informative. Thank you for all of the info. Very good. It's real simple and it's real fun. A great presentation, both info and fun. Thank you for yours, Caesar and Brandon from.
Someone from London's watching.
All right, London. Cool. See that? See, I knew we was gonna go global. I knew we was gonna go global.
We're famous now. Huh?
Right. We done came up, y'all. We done came up. Clayton County Master Gardeners, Clayton County Extension. We done came up. Hey, from everyone more. Okay. It's fun, y'all. 18 years of master gardening. I've learned a lot. It's very educational, very fun. We know each other's families. We're very close. Brandon done inherited about, we got about 25, 30 master gardener. Thank you very much for me, that he got to his disposable. We having a plant sale. What is it? October the 5th?
October 3rd.
October the 3rd, we're having a plant sale at the State Farmers Market in Forest Park. Anything you want to know from this point on, always go to your extension office. And if you're in Clayton County, you can always contact the Clayton County Extension Office. We got people that are really ready and able to answer any of your garden questions. Well, if we don't have, thanks from Australia, look at this. Look at this, Brandon, you all the way in Australia. Brandon, you're in London in Australia.
And we got someone from New Jersey as well.
Wow. I don't know how we're reaching all these people. I put some information out there, but it's nice to know that. That's the amazing thing about this pandemic. We're being able to reach more people outside of Clayton County than we would have before, because it would have just been a live face-to-face class and it wouldn't have been global. So, I mean, there's some good in all of this. So if y'all don't have anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and finish planting the rest of this container and call it quits. Thank y'all for everything. Brandon, thank you for everything, for setting this up. I hope everybody had a great time clearing somewhere in the world, land, and opportunity to take off.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, thank you for attending. I hope you signed up for our other classes on our Eventbrite page. So hope to see you on those programs as well. So thanks again for tuning in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Caesar. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks from Wanda.
All right, Wanda, thank you. Love you guys. Thank y'all.
All right.
I think I'm gonna try to do another one of these again. This was pretty fun.
Yeah, you did a great job. So yeah, we can get you on some other ones. It was like a backyard chat about gardening, you know?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great, guys.
Excellent idea. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. Master Gardener.
Yep. No, it's the stuff.
Mhm.
I know all the names.
Okay, that's it, y'all. Love y'all. Take it easy. Everybody be safe.
You as well.
Just for the record. Just for the record. Bye-bye, y'all. Everybody be safe.
Bye-bye.